tell me, what are your thoughts about equity at workplace with reference to government jobs?
Good thing about government is that since most of the government jobs come through an exam system, very rarely is there an interview process, which interview process is just a part of that whole thing, not really something that defines your employment. And hence, in government, you will find a slightly better ratio of women and men any other category. So whether it's people with disabilities or any other category, the ratio is a little better. But there is actually another problem here. The problem is there are not enough women or people with disabilities and all. Actually, let's talk about women in specific here. The numbers of women coming into the, giving that exam itself, that is actually very low. Because women generally do not get that opportunity at home to that luxury at home to prepare for an exam, because it takes time, it takes effort, it takes financial support, it takes emotional support, and women very rarely get that at home. Also, women tend to drop out of the workforce a lot more than men, especially 5-6 years down the line when they start having children, right? Because you get employed, you get married, and then it's time for children. And when the children grow up, even though in government you have excellent maternity leaves, you have all those support systems, but still the number of women that fall out, and hence at the top level, you will still see that gap of very few women being secretary to Government of India and all, as compared to women in the lower rungs. So it's the societal structures which are not supporting women when they grow up. And in fact, in government, it's still a little easier because you can get those jobs which are a little lighter, and hence you can be home at a slightly better time as compared to the corporate sector, where you have to put in that much effort for the company to keep appreciating you and to keep you employed. So in government, it's a little better. And since everything is set by rules, and there are specific timelines to promotions and specific job roles that you will be getting throughout your career, the situation is a lot better. Plus, with people with disabilities, you will find that because of the reservation, there is a huge chunk of intake of people with disabilities as compared to the private sector. In the private sector, there is very little involvement of people with disabilities, but in the government, specifically because of that, it's a little better. But then when we talk about transgenders, I do think government hasn't done well in that. Also, I think it's the fact that most transgenders have kept feeling that they are someone who's illegal in a way. They kept feeling that their own existence was illegal. And since Kalkiji is not here, I think because I worked extensively in the transgender sector, let me just touch on that. Most people who are transgenders were always meant to feel like there was something wrong with them and they are illegal. And because of how the laws were, they kind of kept away from government. They kind of felt that the government is going to prosecute them. And hence, their participation in the government workforce is very, very low, very, very little. In fact, I'm one of the few people who, I think I'm the first person who gave a full-time employment to a transgender person in a government office. This was unheard of when I did it. I think a few more people have come in now, specifically since the act came after that. But that reservation still exists, that hesitancy still exists. And because women, anybody who's from the weaker section, wherein I'm also including people with disabilities and transgenders, the fact that they don't get to complete their education, that actually hampers their involvement in the workplace in a huge thing. So when we talk about equity in the government, because of the laws and because of the reservation and because it's an exam-based system, the participation for most of the sectors is a little better than it is in the private sector. And because in government, there are rules and you can go to a court if, you don't get your due promotions and you don't get your due salary increments and you don't get your due roles. So that makes it easier for people to participate and to keep growing. So I do think that equity part is a little better off.
So